Esau selling his birthright. I want to talk about it, right? Because it's a story that shows what happens when you put the world above everything else, or when you prioritize the wrong things. So if you don't know the story of Esau, or not the story, I'll just him selling his birthright. He comes back from hunting, and Jacob was cooking stew, and Esau essentially says, right, to Jacob, let me eat some of that red stew, for I am exhausted, right? And then Jacob said, sell me your birthright now. Esau said, I am about to die. Of what use is a birthright to me? Of what use is a birthright to me? So then he swore to Jacob and sold his birthright for stew and bread. First of all, which I think is ridiculous. Your birthright, you're from the lineage of Abraham. You know your birthright is going to have have legends. You know, it's gonna have goats coming through, like. But you sold it. That's, I think, is very silly from Esau. But I want to talk about this. Esau in this moment, although he's hungry, although his flesh, his body is physically hungry, right? He doesn't recognize his spiritual, the spirit in him, right? What he has other than his flesh. He doesn't recognize it. And this is something that I'll talk about probably in another video, right? How important is it for us to understand who we are in Christ and understand we are more than just our flesh. But I think he didn't understand this, and he prioritized the world over his spiritual life. Like, and it says in Mark 8:36, what good is it for someone to gain the whole world, forfeit their soul? And that's exactly what he did. He gained his whole world, which was the food in this instant, but literally forfeited his soul, his spirit, his birthright, right? And it caused Jacob for him to serve Jacob, which is not right because he's the older brother. And I just want to talk about this. Sometimes we forfeit ourselves. We give up God or we give up our spiritual lives or our spirits for the world. We give into the world a lot. And this is why I think fasting is so important, because one, Jesus did it, showing it, the importance of it, but also to deny that flesh, to say to our flesh, no. Like, to tell it no and to stop it, if that makes sense. But I just think that story is very interesting. How much you can get out of someone who doesn't value something, and to see the value in other things. Jacob saw the value in the birthright so early on because his spiritual mind was trained, you know. But Esau's wasn't, and that's just so important. Train your spiritual mind, train it.